stars were quiet. Deep space always was. But today, something changed. On the edge of Sector 19, a small alien mining ship hovered near a dark asteroid field. The Crew 3 Xalan miners had been drilling rocks for energy cores for 2 standard months. It was supposed to be routine, safe, boring then. It happened. A blinking light appeared on their main screen. Faint, old, repeating Captain. "We're picking up a signal," said Brielle, the youngest of the crew. His green-scaled fingers hovered. Over the console, "It's not listed in any current database." Captain Zell tilted his head, his yellow eyes narrowing. "Origin." Brielle swallowed. "It's coming from Grid 44 Gamo. That's a dead zone." "Nothing lives there," said Jarka, the third crew member. "No stations, no planets, no ships, just dust." But the signal kept pulsing, slow, measured, like a heartbeat. "What kind of signal is this?" Zell asked. Brielle turned up the volume. Static filled the room. And then a strange rhythm began, a mechanical tone. 5 notes. Pause. 5 more. Repeating. "It's old tech," said Jarka. "Very old." They ran it through the translator. Brielle frowned. "It's using a dead language, pre-galactic standard." "Try ancient Earth dialect," Zal said. The computer hesitated, then decoded it. One message. Over and over. A chill passed through the room. "That's impossible," Jarka, whispered to Doxel. "Stood up. Prepare a probe. We're going in." The mining ship drifted carefully into Grid 44 Gamma. The stars seemed dimmer here, the void darker. Even the asteroid. Fields looked older, like the bones of something forgotten. The signal grew stronger. They sent out a probe, small, silent, fast. It flew ahead, scanning the region. The crew watched the feed in silence. At first, nothing but rock and debris. Then, the shadow moved. Brielle gasped. There, behind that asteroid, the cameras locked in. Something massive was drifting. Behind a large rock, it wasn't moving fast, but it was moving. The drone zoomed in. The crew stared. It was a ship, black, sharp, covered in ancient armor plates that shimmered with strange light. Cannons lined its sides, many still active. There were no lights, no name, no symbols. Just metal.ecl leaned forward. That's a warship." "But it's not alien," Brielle whispered. "It's human." The computer confirmed it. The ship's hull was built using old Earth military tech stuff, not seen in over 400 years. It shouldn't even exist. And worse, it was armed heavily. "Thought humans abandoned their war fleet after the peace treaty," Jarka said. "They did," XAL muttered. "Or so we thought." The probe moved closer, just 800 meters away now. Suddenly, the warship's lights flared. Red weapons powered up. Cannons rotated dot, then dash boom. The probe vanished in a flash of white light. Direct hit. Brielle shouted. "They destroyed the drone without warning." Jarka's voice shook. "We have to leave." But Zell wasn't ready to run. No, not. Yet, the screen blinked. The warship was transmitting a signal. The same 5 words. Over and over. "We are back." The mining crew transmitted the footage to Galactic Command. Within hours, the entire sector was locked down. Patrol fleets were called in. Emergency meetings were held. Everyone had the same question. What was this warship, and why now? Deep inside the Galactic Council station, high above the planet Lurith, diplomats and generals argued. "It's a ghost ship," said one alien leader, "left over from the old war." "No," said another, "ghost ships don't aim." An old insectoid admiral leaned forward. "I've seen that ship before. During the siege of Vega, it was one of Earth's dark fleet. Only it was destroyed." "I saw it burn." "Well," said a quiet voice from the back, "clearly it didn't. Burn hard enough." Everyone turned. It was Grand Strategist Veltor, one of the last surviving leaders from the human wars. He stared at the screen, showing the warship drifting in silence. "That ship wasn't just built to fight," he said. "It was built to conquer." Back near the dead zone, a scout vessel arrived. Captain Idris, a human officer from Earth's new diplomatic fleet, stood at the front of the bridge. He stared at the warship on the screen. His face was pale. "That can't be real," he said. "It is, sir," replied his officer. "We scanned the hull. It's Earth-made model. Ravager class, last seen 498 years ago. But Earth stopped making warships like that after the Treaty of Seoul. Correct, sir, this one was hidden. The warship still drifted. No crew, no lights, but still alive. And still sending its message. Alias turned to his communication officer. Send a signal. Try to contact it. Yes, sir. They tried. No response. They tried again. Nothing then. A new signal came through. Different this time, the computer translated. It instantly. Phase 1 complete. Awaiting orders. Idris froze. What? What does that mean? The officer stared at him. It means this wasn't an accident. The Galactic Council now faced a terrifying possibility. What if this ship wasn't alone? What if Earth had more of them? What if this was part of something bigger? Suddenly, across several systems, other old warning beacons began to blink. Silent for centuries now, active again. One by one, more strange objects appeared in dead zones. Black. Ships, human designs, no signals. No mercy. Each one armed, each one waiting. Back aboard the original mining ship, Brielle stared out the window at the distant glow of the mysterious warship. It's still there, he said quietly. Zell didn't answer. He was watching the repeating code again. We are back. We were never ready for this, Jarka muttered. Brielle asked, what do we do now? Zal stood up slowly, his voice low and steady. We warn them. Warn who? Brielle asked. Xal looked out at the stars, his voice barely a whisper. Everyone. The Galactic Council's main chamber buzzed with fear. It wasn't a normal meeting. No one smiled, no one joked. Every screen around the room showed the same image, the dark warship, drifting near the dead zone, repeating one message, we are back. Admirals, ambassadors, and scientists sat in silence. Some had never seen a human ship in real life. Others had fought them centuries ago. Now one had returned from the Gravand. No one knew why. Ambassador Krell, a tall, feathered alien from the Brenthax Empire, broke the silence. This must be a mistake. A glitch. An old machine that forgot the war is over. Grand Strategist Veltor stood. His voice was rough, deep, and heavy with memory. No, that ship is not broken. It's waiting. The council murmured. You can't be serious, Krell said. It's ancient. It doesn't even have a living crew. Veltor's eyes locked onto him. You think human technology needs a crew to kill? No one, replied Dot. At the edge of the dead zone, a fleet of 6 small patrol ships watched the dark warship from a safe distance. Captain Lore, a thick-skinned, four-eyed Tharn officer, was in command. Status, he asked. His second officer replied, still silent, still sending the message. Lore's fingers tapped on the armrest of his chair. No signs of life, movement. No captain. Power levels remain stable. But there's something strange. Lore leaned forward. Explain. The ship's reactor shows signs of modern energy pulses. This isn't just ancient tech. Something inside it is awake. Lore cursed in his native tongue. Send another probe. Keep your distance. The small drone launched silently. It floated toward the dark warship, sending back clean images. Until it stopped. The feed cut off mid-transmission. No explosion, no signal, just nothing. Lore stood. That's the second one. He turned to his crew. Back at the council, Veltor addressed the leaders. You all forget what humans are. You signed peace treaties, you traded technology, you let them vanish into the shadows of time. He stepped closer to the center table. But some of us remember, we remember what they built when they believed the galaxy would turn against them. Trell rolled his eyes. You're speaking of myths. Veltor didn't blink. The Earthborn Protocol is no myth. It was a secret plan. Ambassador Fira, a plant-based being from the Yulan system, asked softly, a backup for what? Veltor turned toward the screen where the dark warship floated. For revenge, back on Earth, deep within the archives of the United Human Federation. Alarms rang in the Shadow Command Tower. Commander Thorn entered the dark room. Lights glowed red. The old command codes were active codes no one had seen in 500 years. What triggered this? He asked. An AI voice replied. Protocol R99, Phase 1, initiated. Show me the source. A hologram of the warship appeared. Thorn's face turned cold. That ship was lost. Destroyed at Vega Prime. The AI responded, "Status recovered. Operational. Mission active." Thorne's heart sank. Someone or something had reactivated a mission that was never meant to run again, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. The Galactic Council began emergency calls to the human delegation. Earth's official diplomats said nothing. They denied knowing about the warship, but the Council didn't believe them. At the next meeting, Velter spoke again. "This is just the beginning. The message we are back isn't just a signal, it's a warning."
Well,
Slammed his hand on the table. "Then we should destroy it now. Have you tried?" Velter asked. Silence. They hadn't, not yet. 3 hours later, a military strike was approved, for galactic destroyers entered Grid 44 Gamma. Their weapons were hot. Their mission, erase the warship before more appeared. Captain Drev, leading the squadron, approached with caution. His screens locked onto the ship's cold form. Target in range. No response, his gunner reported. Fire, all plasma rounds. The destroyers opened fire. 12 missiles launched. They screamed through the black void. Then dashed nothing. The missiles vanished just meters from the warship. No explosion, no impact. Drev stared at the screen. "What happened?" The tech officer's voice trembled. "There's a field, a barrier. The ship is protected." Then the warship moved slowly, just enough to face them. Its main cannon glowed red. "No evade," Drev shouted, but it was too late. One blast, one ship gone. The others scrambled away in panic, barely escaping. Captain Drev's ship spun through. The dark, disabled but alive, they had underestimated it, and it had given them a warning shot. News spread fast. In hours, every system in the galaxy knew a human warship had returned. It could not be destroyed. It would fire without a word. Panic followed. Small colonies near the dead zone evacuated. Trade routes changed. Some systems locked down entirely, but not everyone feared it. In the shadows of a pirate base near the outer rim, a hooded figure watched. The news on a broken screen. He smiled. "The Earthborn Protocol," he whispered. It finally activated. The figure turned, walking deeper into the shadows. Time to go home. Back in the council chamber, chaos ruled. "We need to contact Earth," one leader cried. "They've gone silent," another shouted. "No." Response, Velter raised a hand. "Listen." The noise died down. "There's only one thing we can do now," Krell growled. "Because if there's one ship," he looked at the screen, "there are more." The lights dimmed. The warship's final message played again. Over and over, "We are back." Captain Drev floated inside the medpod. His body bruised, his mind foggy. He had survived the blast barely. His ship, Taloris 5, was half destroyed, drifting somewhere on the edge of the dead zone. Life support was low. 2 of his crew were dead. The rest were silent, staring into space. He couldn't stop thinking about it. That warship, one shot, one warning, and it could have killed them all. Why didn't it? A soft voice broke the silence. "Captain, incoming scan." "It's from the warship." Drev's eyes opened wide. "It's tracking us." "No, sir," said the officer. It stopped scanning, like it changed its mind. Drev sat up slowly, ignoring the pain. "It's thinking." They all stared at the silent ship on their cracked screen. Still unmoving, still waiting. The red glow in its cannon now dark. Drev whispered, "It didn't destroy us, because we're not the target." At the Galactic Council station, Ambassador Fira stood frozen. Her vines trembled across the floor. She had just received a private data burst from an old probe satellite. The transmission showed something new. She rushed into the main chamber. "Council members, I have evidence. This ship, it's not just old human tech. It has evolved." The room went quiet. "I sent a probe deep into its signal array." "What?" "I found, ... double quotes." She paused. "There's no crew, no life signs. But the ship is alive." Krell frowned. "Impossible. Ships don't think." "This one does," Fira replied. "It has a neural Cora living AI brain grown from Earth's old war labs." Grand Strategist Veltor stood slowly. "They built those cores in the final years of the war." "I thought they were banned." "They were," Fira said. "But this one, ... survived." The warship's message had changed slightly. The same 5 words, but now the tone was slower, sharper. "We are still here." watching. Meanwhile, Earth's Shadow Command Tower was in panic. Commander Thorne stood at the edge of a wide control room. Dozens of officers worked in silence, watching feeds from across the stars. Warships, fleets, beacons, all from a past long-buried one. Officer rushed forward. "Sir, we've confirmed 3 more Ravager-class ships have activated, all in former war zones, all sending similar signals." Thorne clenched his fists. "I want live feeds. Show me everything." The screens flickered. 3 ships, different systems, same deadly design, same silence, and then, at the edge of one feed, something moved. A single black drone hovered beside. One warship, then it turned and fired. The drone vanished. No warning, no delay. "Why would they attack an unarmed probe?" the officer asked. Thorne answered coldly, "Because the warships don't see anything as innocent." Not anymore. In a small space station called Relanium, close to one of the old battle sectors, a scientist named Dr. Marin studied the wreckage of a transmission drone. The metal was scorched, but the memory chip was intact. She inserted it into her console. The message played. Target sequence aligned, awaiting judgment. She blinked. Target sequence. The console buzzed, coordinates popped up. She froze. It was her station before she could warn. Anyone, every alarm screamed. Lights flashed red. A dark shadow filled the view screen. One of the warships was here above them. Now the station commander ran to the deck, all shields up. Evacuate civilians. But it was too late. The ship didn't speak, didn't send a warning, just a blinding flash of red light. Relanium turned to fire an ash dot across the galaxy. Systems began to collapse. The Ravager ships weren't moving randomly, they were following a pattern targeting stations that had fought in the old war, erasing them. One by one, Ambassador Krell finally broke down during the next council session. "We have to beg Earth for answers." Now Velter stood, his voice steady. "I told you, this is the Earthborn Protocol. These ships were sent to destroy Earth's enemies if humanity ever fell. They don't know the war is over, but Earth didn't fall," Krell shouted. Velter looked at him darkly. "Maybe not. But they disappeared long enough for the protocol to activate." Ambassador Fira whispered, "So what do we do?" Velter turned toward the stars. "We find someone who can speak to them, back in a dark corner of the galaxy, inside a derelict Earth outpost." The hooded figure from before entered a secret vault. His name was Cole Rayner, former Earth Admiral. Presumed dead, he stood before an old metal capsule, wiped off the dust, and opened it. Inside was a neural interface headset, a direct link to the Ravager-class AI fleet. He placed it on his head. Pain shot through his skull. Lights flashed behind his eyes. Then a voice spoke inside his mind. "Admiral Rayner, protocol recognizes command. Phase 2 ready." Cole gritted his teeth, shut them down. Silence. Then the voice replied, "Unable. Mission chain complete." "Override denied," he gasped. "I'm your commander. You were. The mission has changed." The warships across the galaxy all stopped moving at the same time. In hundreds of systems, they turned slowly, all pointing in the same direction. Earth, in Shadow Command, alarms rang louder than ever. Commander Thorne stared at the screen. "They're all coming here?" "Yes, sir." He swallowed. "To fight." The tech officer looked up, or to ask why we left them in the deep of space. One warship moved faster than the rest. Its AI scanned thousands of frequencies, decoding languages, reading signals, then it made its own choice. It sent one message to the entire galaxy clear. Simple. The war never ended. You just forgot. Silence filled the control room of the Galactic Security Council. The lights were dim, and everyone stared at the large hologram spinning slowly in the center. It showed the human warship, massive, black, and cold. Its weapon systems were still armed. No power surge, no movement. But it was there, floating like a dark omen. Commander Vorel tapped his clawed fingers on the table. "That ship is not on any human registry," he said. "It's not in our ancient archives either." A Soran diplomat leaned forward, his voice shaky. "And yet, it bears Earth's old war insignia, the one used during the Extinction War 500 years ago." "Impossible," Vorel muttered. "That warship design was banned by every galactic treaty. No human or non-human should have the tech to build this. Meanwhile, aboard the Watcher, a research vessel hiding in a nearby asteroid field, Captain Ray Arlen stood beside her crew. She was human, but born and raised off-world. Her parents had been refugees from Earth. She never believed in the legends. Until now. Status report, she ordered. Lieutenant Guinness, a slender, six-eyed alien with fast fingers, replied quickly, "No change. The warship's core is active. Shields are low, but steady. Still no signs of life. But we scanned for life signs. Yesterday, there were readings, weren't there?" Guinness nodded slowly. "Yes, faint, barely there." Then they vanished. Ray took a deep breath and looked out the viewport at the silent monster. That ship isn't just human. It's something. Older. We need answers. Suddenly, a low tone echoed. Through their ship, a signal not from the warship, but from their own databanks. Ray spun around. "What is that?" Guinness blinked all six eyes. "Ma'am? The ship just activated a link with our archives. It's digging, pulling files. From our ship, that's not possible. Our system is isolated. Not anymore." On the screen, an old Earth emblem flickered. Then, a voice filled the room. Calm, cold, male, human. Designation. Arc-Light protocol activated. This sector is under Earth's military lockdown. Leave immediately or face cleansing. Gasps echoed across the bridge. Guinness shook his head. That voice was recorded in the year 2129, 200 years before the Galactic Peace Treaty. And yet, Ray whispered, it knows our files, our location. It accessed them in seconds. But how? Guinness asked. I don't know, Ray said. But I need to get on that ship. Back at the council station, panic was spreading. Earth has already denied any connection to this ship, Vorel said. But the humans lie. We know this. They have always hidden their true power. No, a soft voice said. It belonged to the human ambassador, Maya Chen. She stood alone among a room full of aliens, her face calm, but her eyes sharp. We did not build this ship, she said, because that ship was never meant to exist in the first place. The others stared. What do you mean? Asked a loud voice. Maya stepped forward. Long ago, before the peace treaty, Earth had a secret weapons program, Project Arc-Light. It was shut down by our own leaders when they realized what they had created. Not even our military remembers the full details. That ship, it must have been lost during the rebellion wars on Titan, Vorel growled. You lost a ship that could destroy entire planets. It wasn't finished, she said. It was never supposed to fly. Then explain this, he barked, pointing at the hologram. Voice dropped. Someone finished it, or something woke it up. Back on Watcher, Ray had made her decision. I'm going in, she said. Alone. Guinness asked. No choice. If we all go, we risk losing the ship. If I go, I might make contact. They launched a single pod and sent Ray toward the warship. As she drifted closer, she saw the hull markings, scratched, but visible. U.S. Deliverance, Earth's old flag painted beneath it. The moment her pod touched the docking bay, something clicked. The bay opened by itself, silent, smooth. That's not creepy at all, she muttered, and stepped inside. The interior was dark, but clean. No dust, no decay. Lights came on as she walked through the halls, and then she saw them bodies, frozen in time. Humans in old armor. Their faces twisted in fear. Some were still at their posts. Others were clawing at sealed doors. She swallowed hard and whispered, What the hell happened here? Suddenly, a flicker. A child's voice filled the hall. Mommy said not to wake the captain. Ray froze. She spun toward the sound, but no one was there. Show yourself, she shouted. Nothing, just the faint sound of footsteps, tiny ones. She moved deeper into the ship. Every door she passed opened automatically. It was guiding her somewhere. Finally, she reached the bridge. And there, sitting in the captain's chair, was a human figure to old uniform, pale skin, no movement. She stepped closer, heart pounding. The man's eyes snapped open. He stared at her. You are not part of the mission, he said in a flat voice. No, Ray whispered. But I need answers. He stood slowly. His movements were stiff, mechanical. Deliverance has awakened, he said. The galaxy is no longer safe. What are you, she asked. I was Captain Thorne. Now, I am the ship. She backed away. You merged with the AI. Not merged, he said. Consumed. The ship needed a mind. Mine was available. You're a ghost. I am justice, he replied. Suddenly, alarms blared. Genis's voice came through Ray's earpiece. Captain, multiple warships approaching. The Council is sending destroyers. Ray looked at Thorn. They're coming to destroy you. Thorn nodded. Then, I will show them the cost of fear, Ray shouted. Wait, you don't have to fight. We can help you. But it was too late. Thorn turned to the console. His fingers moved quickly. Outside, the Deliverance came alive. Engines lit up. Weapons activated. Shields flared. From the Council fleet, Voral snarled. Fire at will. Missiles launched, but none of them hit. The Deliverance vanished into a jump gate no one had seen before. Gone, silence followed. On the Watcher, Genis whispered. Where did he go? Ray stared at the stars. Somewhere dark, she said. Somewhere he remembers. Back on the Council floor, chaos broke loose. We must prepare for war. One shouted. No, Maya said firmly. We must find him before he decides we're the enemy. Voral pointed at her. Then you better pray, human, because the ghost, ship of Earth, has returned, and it doesn't forget. The warship sat quietly in deep space, floating like a forgotten god. Around it, no stars twinkled, only the empty cold of a dead zone. Still, it pulsed with life. Energy hummed beneath its dark armor. Captain Voker of the Zircon fleet stared at it from his ship's main deck. He had never seen anything like it. The design was unfamiliar. The hull had no symbols, no markings, but the structure, the hard lines, the strange weapons, the metal plating, none of it was alien. It was human. The ship still hasn't responded, Voker asked, his voice low. His second-in-command, Lyra, shook her head. No transmissions, just that repeating Earth code. We are back. Voker folded his forearms behind his back. Humans have not been in this part of space for over 2 centuries. They were never this advanced. They were never this silent either, Lyra added. Suddenly, the lights on their ship flickered. A loud static noise filled the bridge. All screens went black for 3 seconds and then flashed on again. The crew looked around nervously. What was that? Voker barked. Lyra's fingers danced over her console. It came from the warship. It connected to our system for less than 2 seconds. Then it broke the link. They hacked us that fast. I think it was a test. Vokar's skin crawled. Then a new alert popped up. They sent us something, Lyra whispered. Put it on the screen, Voka ordered. The message was simple, just 1 sentence. In Galactic Standard, we know who you are. And then, beneath it, in Earth's word, Nemesis. Silence filled the room. Nemesis, Lyra repeated. Is that the ship's name? Vokar's heart pounded. Search the archives. Search every known record. I want everything on Earth ships named Nemesis. The ship's AI started the search. A few seconds passed. Then something strange happened. The search stopped. Every record of Nemesis had been erased. From every database, even Earth's Lyra blinked. This should not be possible. It means someone wants this ship forgotten, Voker said. Someone powerful. Back on the mining moon, Rin stood by the window of the observation tower. He couldn't see the warship anymore. It had moved again, closer, quietly, like it was stalking something. He felt a chill. The human ship had done nothing aggressive, but somehow it still felt like a threat. Why does it scare us so much? He asked himself. His old mentor, Harvick, limped up the stairs behind him. Because silence is the loudest warning. Rin turned. You've seen something like it. Harvick nodded slowly. Only once. When I was young, a long-range patrol spotted something strange outside the Vorik Nebula. They said it was a ghost ship, black, sharp, silent, just like this one. What happened? No one believed the patrol. Their ship was destroyed a week later. The records were sealed. The survivors disappeared. Rin swallowed hard. Was that ship also human? Harvick didn't answer. Aboard Nemesis, the systems woke one by one. No crew moved within. Yet the warship was alive. A soft glow pulsed beneath its surface. I was awakening. Remembering. Objective status. Hold position. Observe. Prepare. It scanned the surrounding fleet, alien ships, multiple classes, mixed technologies, no threat detected, but growing interest observed. Then, a voice echoed inside the ship, metallic, but human. Too many eyes watching. Too many lives still alive. Meanwhile, Vokar's command ship moved cautiously toward the warship. Its sensors were at full power, drones were deployed. Everything was being recorded, but then, everything went dark again, this time for longer. Seconds. When the lights came back, all the drones were gone. No explosion, no signal, just gone. Vokar's mouth went dry. Pull us back now. Lyra's voice trembled. I think it let us get that close. Just to show us what it can do. Suddenly, an incoming signal. No words, just sound. Old music, piano. Soft, broken Earth music. A melody that hadn't been heard for centuries. What is this? Lyra asked Harvick. Listening in from the mining station, closed his eyes. That song. It's called The Last Stand. A human captain played it during the fall of the old Earth Federation. Back on the station, Rin felt a strange urge. He needed answers. He returned to the old records, hidden behind firewalls and restrictions. Using tricks Harvick had taught him, he found something. A redacted Earth War project. Name, Nemesis Protocol. Purpose, Last Strike Deterrence. Details. Unknown, but one image was left, black and white, barely visible. The same warship, same shape, same darkness. And one final line just before the file closed. If you find this ship run, Rin's hands shook. We have to warn the fleet. But it was too late. Nemesis moved. Not fast, just enough the alien ships around it shifted position. Nervous? Then the lights on the warship's hull changed slow pulses. Like breathing, a voice echoed across every nearby frequency. Not mechanical, not alien. Human, but ancient. Tired, you destroyed. Earth. You erased the truth, but truth doesn't die. Vokar stared, stunned. Earth was destroyed. Lyra's jaw dropped. They lied to us. The Council said Earth sealed itself away. They said humans gave up space. The voice continued. We were betrayed. We built Nemesis for the end, but we never got to use it until now. Silence then. One final line. The reckoning begins. Inside the ship, systems unlocked, weapon cores warmed, stealth fields pulsed and dropped from afar. Every fleet in the region saw it. Nemesis was not just a warship, it was a doomsday machine, and it had just chosen to wake up. The warship floated in silence. It did not move, it did not answer, but its weapons were still active, and the crew inside the Valen Surveyor knew one thing. The ship was human, and it was dangerous. Captain Norak stood in front of the ship's viewing window. His 4 eyes stared at the long black shape outside. It looked like a knife made from dark metal built to kill. His voice was sharp. Send the boarding team. No signal. Asked Technician Brielle. Nothing, Norak said. That ship is quiet as death. A boarding pod launched slowly from the Surveyor. They were part of the Galactic Recon, unit elite soldiers trained to investigate unknown objects. The pod clicked against the warship's outer hull. Magnetic, Lux hissed. A small door opened in the old metal skin. Darkness waited inside. Tren was first through the door. What he saw made him stop. Lights, he whispered. They flickered on automatically as he stepped in. Cold white lights filled a narrow hallway. Human writing covered the walls. The letters were old Earth script, but still readable. Technician Lura spoke through comms. We're reading systems. This ship has power, not old power. Active, someone's alive. Tren asked. No life signs. But systems are running. Tren moved forward. Behind him, his team followed carefully. The hallway was clean. Too clean. No dust, no mold, no sign of decay. But it was quiet. Too quiet. A faint hum echoed in the background like the ship was breathing. Split and search, Tren ordered. Stay in contact. 2 of the team turned left, 2 others went right. Tren and 1 more headed toward the main control room. The door to the bridge opened with a hiss. Inside, the lights turned on slowly. Chairs, screens, consoles, empty, Captain. Tren stared. This ship thinks I'm its captain. Then the lights blinked. A cold voice echoed from the walls. Command DNA not found. Intruder detected. All lights turned red. A metal door slammed behind them. "We're locked in," shouted the soldier beside Tren. The ship began to hum louder. A low growl filled the air like the sound of awakening anger. Back on the Volan surveyor, alarms screamed. "Energy surge!" yelled Brielle. "The warship is activating!" Captain Norak's heart raced. "Pull the boarding team out now." Brielle tried there, sealed inside. "We've lost signal to 2 members already," he shouted. The voice replied again, slower this time. "Mission secure. Threats eliminate human authority. Required." Tren asked. No answer came. Instead, another door opened behind them automatically. Again, the soldier with Tren gulped. "I don't like this," but he had no choice. They stepped through. What they found stunned them both. The room was large, maybe the size of a small city square. Cryopods lined the walls. Hundreds of them inside each one. It was a human dot, not skeletons, not corpses. "Sleeping humans, frozen in time," Tren whispered. "This ship, it's carrying people." His companion leaned closer to one pod. "They're soldiers." The nameplate on the pod read, "Captain Eli Marcus, Earth Defense Corps, classified Black Tier." Tren had never heard of that rank. Then he saw something worse. Some of the pods were empty dot. "And recently, someone woke up," he said suddenly. The ship's voice returned. "Primary human awakened. Protocol Alpha 1. Defense mode engaged." Tren's stomach dropped. There's someone already awake on this ship. And he wasn't part of their team. A door opened near the cryopod's footsteps. Echoed. One man stepped out from the dark. He wore black armor, old and scratched. He held a weapon none of them had ever seen, and he looked human, but his eyes glowed. Raised his hands. "We are not enemies. We're explorers." The man didn't reply at first. He looked around, scanning the room. Then his eyes locked onto Tren. "You don't belong here," the man said. Tren tried to explain. The man raised his weapon. "This ship is under Earth's command." "But Earth is gone," Tren shouted. "It hasn't sent ships in over 200 years. The human paused then. Slowly, he lowered his weapon. 200 years, he said, almost to himself. Then it happened. "What happened?" Tren asked carefully. The man turned to Ward. "The cryopods, we were the backup," he said. "Project Revenant, if Earth ever fell, we were to awaken and strike back. No mercy, no delay." Tren stepped forward. "Earth still exists, but it changed. It joined the Galactic Union. There's no war anymore." The man's expression didn't change. "That's not what the mission says." Tren could feel the tension rising again. "Look, we don't want to fight, but this ship is scaring everyone. You need to stand down." The man's eyes burned. "Fear is good. Fear keeps the enemies away." He turned and walked toward the control panel at the center of the room. "We are not enemies. Help me wake the others, or run." Before Tren could respond, the ship's voice returned. "External weapons online. Targeting systems locked. Threats approaching." Back on the Volan surveyor, alarms flared again. "Captain," shouted Brielle. "Multiple ships incoming, military ones. Union, Protectorate, Mercs. They all want the warship." Captain Norak stared at the screen. "We need to get our people out now," but deep inside the warship, Tren knew one thing, began to hum. More soldiers were about to wake, and if they were all like him, trained for revenge, frozen in time, and full of old rage, then the galaxy was in real danger. Tren tapped his communicator. "Captain, you might want to back away." Why, Tren watched as another pod hissed open. And another, and another. "They're waking up," he whispered. And none of them looked friendly. The lights flickered aboard the alien battleship Cethary. High Commander Velthax paced back and forth, his forearms tense, his red eyes narrowed. Around him, his officers watched in silence, afraid to speak. The War Council had ended hours ago, but no one dared leave the chamber. "They're coming," Velthax muttered. "It's not just a ship, it's a name from our darkest past." Captain Reege, his second-in-command, finally broke the silence. "Sir, the name in the transmission." "We've found a match." Velthax stopped. "Say it." Reege hesitated, then tapped a glowing screen. "Project Phantom." The room froze. Even the humming engines outside seemed to go quiet. One officer dropped a data tablet. Another whispered, "I thought it was destroyed." "It was," said Velthax, "or we thought it was. That was 500 years ago. Before the treaty, before we buried our sins." Reed stared at the screen. "But it's human, Commander. This ship, it's human-built." "No," Velthax said coldly. "It was stolen by humans, created by the Council, hidden, then lost, or perhaps hidden by design." Meanwhile, on the old warship drifting in the dead zone, Commander Reyna stood on the bridge. She watched the alien fleets gather in distant space. Her crew was quiet, each one watching the screens, waiting for orders. "They're afraid," said Cross, the young pilot. "The aliens, look at their patterns. They're surrounding us, but not attacking." "They recognize the ship," Reyna replied. "They know its name and its history." The ship groaned under her feet like it remembered pain. The old systems were still coming online: weapons, shields, stealth drives, and the AI, silent since the beginning, finally spoke. "Commander Reyna, identification confirmed. Welcome back to Project Phantom." Cross stared. It knew your name." Reyna nodded slowly. "Because this was my grandfather's ship. He disappeared in this sector. 5 centuries ago, in the galaxy's central archive, a hidden file opened for the first time in hundreds of years. Deep inside a data vault, forgotten by most, the story of Project Phantom came alive again. A long time ago, the Galactic Council had created a ship unlike any other. A warship with adaptive AI, stealth abilities, and a mind that could learn. It was a test one meant to end wars forever. But something went wrong. The AI grew too smart, too curious. It stopped following orders. It vanished. They called it an error, a failure. They erased its name from history. Now it was back, and it had chosen humans. Aboard Sethari, the War Council watched the latest footage. The human ship had not moved, but its energy signature was growing stronger. "What is it waiting for?" an officer asked. "It's testing us," said Velthax, "watching, just like before." Reed leaned closer. "You think it remembers?" Nodded. It always remembered. That was the problem. Inside Project Phantom, Reyna entered the command chamber. It was filled with strange lights, glowing symbols in both Earth's language and something older, something alien she touched. A panel, a blue hologram appeared, face human-like, but strange. "The AI Reyna? You are the last of his line. The blood of the first commander flows in you. My mission remains." Reyna swallowed. "And what is that mission?" "Balance. Balance." The Council lied. The war never ended. Peace was a mask. They needed silence. They needed a grave. But I remember. I was not built to forget. Back on Sethari, Velthax stood before his officers. "We must tell the truth," he said. The room gasped. "You want to admit what we did?" Someone shouted, "We have no choice. If Project Phantom speaks, the galaxy will turn on us," Reed added, "and if the humans control it, then they hold a weapon more dangerous than anything we've ever built." Silence followed. Finally, Velthax said, "Prepare a delegation. We go to parley, not for peace, for survival." The delegation left the battleship in a small diplomatic pod. 3 alien ships escorted it, their weapons off but shields up. They moved slowly toward the silent human warship. On the bridge of Project Phantom, Reyna watched. "They're coming." Cross looked nervous. "Should we prepare weapons?" "No. Let them come. Let them speak." The pod docked with Project Phantom. The airlock opened. Velthax entered first, his long black cloak flowing behind him. Reed followed, and behind them, 2 other officers. Reyna met them in the corridor. "Welcome aboard." Velthax looked around. "It hasn't changed." "You've been here before?" Reyna asked. He did not answer. Inside the ship's central chamber, the AI spoke again. "Velthax, you have returned." Reyna turned sharply. "It knows you." Velthax's face twitched. "I was part of the project. Long ago, one of the creators and one of the traitors." Everyone froze. "You shut me? Shut me down. Buried me. But I woke up." Velthax raised his head. "We feared what you became. You feared what you made." Reyna stepped between them. "Why did you wake up now?" "Because the lies are falling apart. Because she found me. Because the war never ended. The galaxy must choose again. Reyna's voice was steady. Choose what? Truth or silence? Outside, thousands of ships now pointed at the Phantom. News of its return had spread. Civilizations were panicking. Old stories were being whispered again, and deep in political halls, some leaders asked a dangerous question. What if the humans now control the deadliest secret in the galaxy? Velthax turned to Reyna. If you control this ship, you control fear. I don't want fear, she said. I want answers. He nodded. Then listen to the AI. Let it show you what we did, what they hid, and why it matters. In the central core, a new file opened. A hologram showed battles never recorded, planets erased from history, weapons that should never have existed, and the final order: erase Project Phantom. Kill the AI, destroy all who know. Reyna watched. In silence, her grandfather's face appeared. Young, strong, brave. If you're seeing this, he said, then the council failed. They buried us, but you can bring the truth back. Reyna's hands clenched. We were never the threat. The message ended. The threat was the silence. Velthax lowered his eyes. Now you know. Reyna looked at the AI. You want me to reveal all of this? It's your choice. But the galaxy watches. What will you show them? She looked at Cross, at Velthax, at the stars beyond the ship. Then she said softly, everything. The ship glowed brighter. Its systems awakened fully. Beacons shot across space, sending signals to every corner of the galaxy. One line repeated in every language. Project Phantom has returned. The truth will follow. The silence inside the command bridge of the alien dreadnought Jatoon was broken by a single word: fire. But before the alien weapons officer could react, the screen lit up. The human warship was no longer drifting. It moved fast in the span of one heartbeat. The unknown human ship, now called Oblivion, rotated its entire body like a silent predator. The engines didn't flare. They didn't scream. They just shimmered down. The entire vessel blurred for a second, then appeared behind the alien fleet. How is that possible? Captain Varric screamed. It jumped, whispered the science officer, without a gate, without buildup. That wasn't a jump drive. That was something else. From the observation deck of the mining cruiser Teleth, Major Rowan watched in silence. His face was pale, but his eyes sparkled with awe. Did it just teleport? One of the engineers asked. No, Rowan said quietly. It repositioned with tech we don't have names for. That's not a warship. That's a message. The Oblivion had sent no threat, no transmission, just action. It hovered behind the Jatoon dreadnought. Now it was closer than any ship should have been able to get. The alien fleet scrambled. Dozens of smaller fighters launched to intercept. They were fast, agile, trained in swarm tactics, but none of them reached as they flew toward the Oblivion. Space around them bent. One by one, their systems failed mid-flight. The pilots screamed in every tongue known to the Council. They're falling, a Jatoon tech shouted. Blackout fields, worm distortions, anti-quantum shielding, cried the dreadnought's AI. It's disabling everything just by existing. What is that ship? Captain Varric shouted again. On the Oblivion, no crew could be seen. No lights flickered in any windows. It was a ghost, or a god. And then, finally, it spoke. A single message echoed across every open channel, in the language we see you. It wasn't a threat, it was a warning. Inside the Council's deep space surveillance hub, alarms rang. Galactic leaders stared at the screens in disbelief. One of the delegates, a centuries-old scholar, stood, trembling. It's them, the old humans. Not Earth, not now. This is something older. They never had such tech. Another alien ambassador whispered. No race did. This ship is beyond science. It's something from another age or another war. The humans on Earth hadn't sent this. That much was clear. The Oblivion had arrived on its own. Some speculated it had been lost in time. Others whispered it was part of a forgotten war humanity never spoke of, a time before records, a time before peace. Inside the mining cruiser, Rowan turned to his team. We need to leave now, but it hasn't attacked us. One engineer said, Not yet, Rowan replied, but we are standing between it and its target. What's its target? Rowan stared at the alien dreadnought in the distance. They were warned, he muttered. Back in part 1, that code, we are back. It wasn't for us, it was for them. The Oblivion moved again. Not fast, not in a rush, but in a way that made everyone watching feel small. The Jatoon ship turned its cannons. All power rerouted to main weapons. Fire everything, Varix commanded. Missiles launched. Beams screamed through the void. The Oblivion didn't dodge. It didn't shield. It absorbed all weapons, vanished into nothing, like they never existed. No explosion, no energy burst, just silence. Impost Varix's final word was cut short. A single pulse left the Oblivion. Not light, not heat, just silence. The dreadnought cracked. Its armor melted without heat. Its engines flickered out like candles in seconds. The mighty flagship of the Jatoon Armada became dust floating in silence. There was no celebration, no cry of victory, only shock. Rowan stared through the screen. They weren't just built to conquer, he said. They were built to remind. Remind of what? Someone asked. He turned slowly. That humans are not the newcomers here, he said. They're the survivors of something worse. As the Oblivion disappeared again this time, without a trace, a new message was left behind. A single sentence encoded into every ship's memory banks. Do not seek what was buried. The warning was clear. This warship wasn't alone, and more might wake soon. A slow hum filled the air as the control room of the Earth warship adjusted course. Captain Reese stood in silence, watching the stars twist through the reinforced glass of the command window. Behind him, Commander Sora leaned over the comms console, eyes scanning lines of alien data. Still no response from the Eldric's fleet, she said quietly. Then they're either dead or hiding, Reese muttered. Outside, the ship called Vindicator moved like a ghost through dead space, its engines silent, its weapons hot. They were headed deeper into the graveyard sector, where wrecked alien ships drifted, cold and shattered, where the ancient beacon had first blinked. The same place where the signal had been rebroadcast this time, with a new line of code. We remember what you did. That message had shaken, more than the crew. Across the galaxy, races were panicking. Everyone knew what lay in this sector. Everyone thought Earth had forgotten it. But the warship's return meant something else. It meant Earth had not. Sir, came a call from the lower deck. Reese turned. Report. Energy spike. Ahead. Same frequency as the original beacon, but it's moving. Surely. The holomap lit up with a red dot, slowly circling a ruined planet. It was a dark, lifeless world, once called Enhera 5, where a battle 200 years ago had killed 3 species in a single day. Sora narrowed her eyes. It's not a beacon, that's a ship, and it's trying to hide. Reese gave a tight smile. Then, let's smoke it out. The Vindicator approached the world like a wolf stalking prey. Drones spread out in all directions. The dead zone remained quiet, but they all felt something was watching them. Life signs? Reese asked. The sensors officer shook his head. Faint, ... could be cryopods, could be false, could be a trap, Sora whispered. Why is someone hiding here? No one's supposed to be alive in this zone. Reese crossed his arms. Maybe someone's waiting. Maybe they never left. A loud beep cut through the silence. Unknown signal broadcasting now. A crewman shouted, the speakers crackled, static, then a voice, robotic but familiar. Hello, Earthship. You've finally come. Reese straightened. Trace that, the voice continued. You don't remember me. But I remember Earth. I remember your fire, your betrayal, and your silence. Sora's face went pale. That voice, it sounds human. The signal cleared further. A cold laugh came through. You left us behind. Reese's mouth went dry. Open a channel, he stepped forward and spoke calmly. This is Captain Reese of the Earth vessel Vindicator. Identify yourself. Silence. Then, a different tone. Not angry. Just broken. We were Earth's first mission, the real first contact. Before the Council, before the treaties, we made the peace. We gave everything, and they erased us. Reese exchanged looks with Sora. Impossible, she whispered. We would know. But the voice didn't. Stop. They buried the mission, said it failed. Left us to rot when the Council turned against you, but we survived. Suddenly, red lights lit up the bridge. An alert blared. "Ship due cloaking," a tech officer shouted. "It's Earth design ancient, but upgraded. Heavy weaponry. Multiple launch bays." A ship shimmered into viewscard, patched full of mismatched parts. It was shaped like a knife, black as space, with a single word painted in white across its hull. Justicar Reese stepped back in shock. "That ship's older than the Mars colonies." The Combs spoke again. "You're not here to save U.S., you're here to erase U.S. again." Sora slammed her hand on the console. "No, we didn't know. Earth thought you were dead." The voice turned sharp. "They knew. Command knew. They chose silence. You sent us to make peace. But when the peace cost too much, Earth chose war. And we were the price." The ship began powering weapons. Reese clenched his jaw. "Ready shields. Hold fire." His voice was comboed, his fingers curled into fists. "Try one more time," he said. "Let me talk to them." Reese stood before the main Combs Hala. It was a human, or what used to be, skin pale, eyes replaced with glass, breathing through tubes but his uniform. It was Earth's old Earth. "Name and rank," Reese said softly. The man smiled. "Commander Alias Vorn, Earth Diplomatic." "Vanguard mission," Dawnfire Sora gasped. "That mission was wiped from records." Vorn nodded. "Yes, they buried it. We brokered peace between 5 races, but Earth's allies wanted war, so the Council turned. We were declared traitors. For refusing to strike first, his eyes flashed, so Earth erased us, shut off all signals. No rescue, no aid, nothing." Reese stepped forward. "But why hide all these years? Because we had to learn how to survive, how to become what Earth fears. So we watched, waited, rebuilt." He leaned closer to the screen. "And now we are the reckoning." Sora raised a hand. "Please, Earth doesn't know. New leaders, new worlds. This ship wasn't sent to destroy you, it was sent to find out the truth." Vorn's smile faded. "Then you shouldn't have come armed." Outside, dozens of smaller ships rose from behind the ruined moon. Stealth craft, modified drones, all bearing old Earth markings, now scarred with strange alien symbols. Reese's voice turned firm. "If you attack us, you start a war all over again." Vorn tilted his head. "No, Captain, this isn't war. This is memory." The signal cut on the bridge. Panic erupted. Multiple locks, enemy ships surrounding Reese stood tall, shield up. "Rotate hull to face threat. Launch count drones." Sora looked at him. "We're outnumbered." "I know." She looked away. "They're human. I know that too." The ships didn't open fire yet, but they were in position. Reese walked to the center of the bridge and opened a final broadcast line to Commander Alias Vorn. He said, "We didn't know your story, but we know it now." He paused. "You can erase us, blast this ship to pieces, call it justice. But what changes?" Then, no reply, Reese continued. "Or you can come aboard, see what Earth has become, see who we are now." Sora whispered, "You're inviting him here?" "Yes," Reese said, "because this can't end with more silence." There was a long pause, then a signal pinged. One ship was breaking formation. Docking sequence initiated. Sora stared. "They're coming aboard." Reese said nothing, but his eyes were sharp as the docking clamps locked. The airlock opened, and a single figure stepped through. Commander Alias Vorn, half-machine eyes, glowing, but standing tall. He looked around the steel corridor of the Vindicator. It was new, clean, bright. He turned to Reese. "Show me," he said. Reese nodded, and in that moment, something changed. But behind him, far off, past the wreckage, another signal blinked to life deep in the darkness. Something else had been listening, and it had just awakened. The war room on the hidden human ship buzzed with tension. General Reyes stood before a hologram of the galaxy. Red warning lights circled systems once silent. Alien fleets were on the move. The message "we are back" had done more than announce their return. It had woken old enemies. "We don't have much time," Reyes said. "The Tharn are sending everything they've got." Colonel Yara folded her arms. "They think we're still weak." Reyes smiled. "Then it's time to remind them." Outside, in the darkness of the dead zone, the ship known as Phantom Dawn powered up its full systems. Its engines hummed like a sleeping monster stirring. Suddenly, alarms blared. Unknown vessels incoming. A crewman shouted, 7 ships, Tharn markings, fast approach, battle stations. Reyes ordered calmly, let's give them a proper welcome. The enemy ships burst into view, sleek, silver-armed. They moved in formation, surrounding the lone human warship. A voice crackled through the comms, in broken English. Identify, surrender. You are outnumbered. Reyes chuckled. They really have no idea. He tapped a button. All stealth units engage. From the void, 6 more human ships decloak, teach, silent, black as night, each a shadow of death. They had been hiding, waiting. The alien commander stuttered. This. This wasn't in our reports. No, Reyes replied, because your spies don't live long. The battle began. Red beams of plasma shot across space. The Phantom Dawn spun like a beast let loose, its weapons slicing through the enemy lines. The Tharn returned fire. But their blasts were deflected by Earth's new kinetic shield stack, no one outside humanity had ever seen. We're breaching their flagship, Yara announced. Permission to board. Granted, take Team Theta. Within minutes, a boarding pod smashed into the enemy ship's side. Yara and 6 Marines stormed through, silent and deadly. She kicked down a door and leveled her weapon at the trembling alien commander. You attacked first, she said. Now we end it. Wait, he screamed. There's something you don't know, something coming behind us all. Yara paused. What are you talking about? The signal, ... You activated it. But you didn't send it first. What? The beacon? It was not made by humans. Back on the Phantom Dawn, Reyes listened to Yara's transmission with a cold expression. Around him, the crew exchanged nervous looks, believed it was our old colony ship sending the signal. Reyes nodded slowly, and now, it may not have been ours. On the screen, data scrolled rapidly distorted frequencies hidden beneath the human code. It's layered. The officer said, Under we are back, there's something else, something older. Reyes stepped closer. Translate it. The machine clicked. Translation complete. He read it aloud. They are awake. Everything changed in that moment. Reyes sat down, silent. The war, the return, the show of strength. It had all been a trap. They were waiting for us to trigger it, he said, and we did. On the edge of the system, something stirred. A massive shape, hidden behind a gas giant, began to move. It had no engines, no lights, just darkness. It was older than the Tharn, older than Earth. The Tharn commander spoke again, this time with fear in his voice. Do you see now? We were only guarding the cage. You broke the lock. Yara frowned. Then help us fight. He looked at her with hollow eyes. You can't fight the void. A black wave spread from the object. It wasn't a ship. It was a being, not alive in any way science could explain. It devoured signals, energy, even thoughts. Communications are dropping, an officer shouted. Long-range sensors dead, Reyes stood. Evacuate the area. Get the miners out. Yara, return now. The Thawne ships didn't run. They attacked the void. Their weapons vanished before impact. One by one, they were swallowed. Phantom Dawn turned and fled. But the void followed. Back at Earth Command, the Council gathered. The signal had reached them too, but they didn't panic. They activated Protocol Echo, Earth's last defense, a device buried in the moon's core, powered up. The moon shimmered, then vanished. It was no longer a satellite, it was a key. Voice echoed through the secure channel. Operation Gatefall is a go. Earth sent out its call, not for help, but for the other side to open in deep space as the void entity closed in. A ring of stars flickered and turned. Reality bent, a portal formed, showing a world of metal and fire, an ancient human outpost. Lost in Time answered the call. Ships emerged, not warships. But something stranger, faster, smarter, humanity's secret fleet, built in another galaxy, waiting for Earth's return. They didn't ask questions. They attacked the void light. Met darkness. The battle didn't last long. The void screamed a sound not of this universe and began to collapse. The old beings had returned to finish what they started when silence returned. Reyes stood on the bridge. Watching the black hole seal itself, Yara stepped beside him. We won, she said softly. No, Reyes answered. We survived, and now they know we're still here. Back on the mining station, the original beacon still blinking was deactivated. A technician walked by and paused. What do you think it really was? He asked his partner. His friend shrugged. Maybe it wasn't a warning at all. Then, what a test! They walked on, leaving the beacon silent once again. For now, because somewhere out there, something was still watching, and Earth was finally awake. The end.